So I want to just switch analogies a little bit, because the word I used there was requests. And there's another place where we use that quite often. And I'm wondering if this is conscious or not, but a restaurant, we go in and we start making requests from servers. Where have we heard that before? And that's a great analogy, I think, because really everything about the restaurant is built to provide some kind of content, the content for consumption by the patrons. Yeah, it sounds right to me. But the magic restaurant, the reason why I'm calling it magic is because it actually doesn't exist yet. This is the same restaurant, but in production mode. So we're actually in magic mode, and the menus are empty. So now, as you speak with your client, you have a conversation with them around, well, what do you want on your menu? And it launches this process. So this is your client's future website. It's not about consuming, it's about producing the website. So think about that. The restaurant that you go to is about consumption. The restaurant that you haven't built yet, it's about production. Same with websites. So they say, I want to serve these guys. These are my different market segments. So the same thinking, apply it to a restaurant creation, apply it to production mode of a website. I'm just going to speculate a little bit about what that might look like. What if Drupal didn't argue if you tried to create a menu? What if you just somehow added them in? There's another one, there's another one. Directly from the client's mouth, as it were. And you just sort of built these empty menus that link to empty pages. Now, I don't want to get too much into the discussion about layouts. That's a whole other discussion, so I'm not going to touch that one. Let's assume there's some layout stuff in there. And you got some visual representation of space. And then you click to edit, and you go into one particular empty page, one empty web page, and you start requesting things. So you start adding things in using some kind of a toolbar up there. And I've got just a few simple ones: menu item, static item, dynamic item, very high level. And what you're doing is you're dropping some kind of object into here as you work with the client. And you say, these are all the things that you want. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And I stole this from that camera website, by the way. This is what they've got on that homepage. These actually correspond to empty blocks. You don't really need a block to do something. You have a block that's empty. It needs an internal name. It needs a human name. It needs probably some kind of description. Why is it there? That's all we've got here. That's what we've captured. So this is what I think is interesting, is that these now are still requests, but they're not requests to the server because we're not consuming, we're producing. They're requests to the site builder. Site builder, could you give me one of these? Put these on this page. So they become a to-do list for the site builder. So static blocks basically could resolve to nodes, empty nodes. I need a node here. Okay. Dynamic content or dynamic blocks resolved probably to views, empty views. And then all the real configuration is done a little bit later on. But you've captured so much about what the intent of the client is. You've kind of done a whole requirement gathering process here whilst building the kind of the outer layer, the outer top level of the actual website. And so I'm just speculating a bit more that this is how it might impact a UI, the real UI. This is Vue's UI as it is. And under this inductive pull model, maybe you can recycle, or not recycle, you could repurpose things to handle emptinesses. So we know we need empty blocks here, and this is what they're supposed to be doing. So when I come here as a site builder, these are basically saying, oh, Michael, build me one of these, build me one of these, and so on. And that somehow all translates ultimately when you go back to the page. Oh, now there's real things because we did the configuration. So it's a reminder list, but it's integrated completely with the actual mechanism of site building. So those are how those other requirements from the discussion with the client can map, I think, directly into the UI.